boys. Leave it there. That thing is adorable. It is. I think it's been a while since you're in something that small, eh? Yeah. Last time you seen these guys on Patriot Games in one of the little Polarises, I think you guys stood up to about here. Look at this now. Look, he's taller than me now. You believe that? But anyway, we're done 3 days.
Yes.
Can you believe that we knocked that thing out in 3 days?
That was actually a heap of fun.
A heap of fun. It was a lot of work. In the meantime, the X2's been built on the Patriot campus production line right next door to where we are now. The little Polaris has turned up. What we're going to do, I'm going to give a really quick run through on the DMAX. You've seen the whole build, so you know what's on it, but now you get to see it complete. What I want you two to do, go and set up the X2, get the awning out, get the swags off, and we're going to run you through all the additional bits and pieces that you're going to get in this massive prize pool. You guys do that. You guys come with me. Let's have a look around the DMAX. Now, whilst the boys are setting up the X2 down the back and setting up all the other gear that's included in the prize pack, I'm going to give you a real quick run through, or a recap, I suppose, of the DMAX build. Now, firstly, I'm getting a lot of questions coming through social media, why a DMAX? Well, 2 reasons. One, I do consider it one of the best value for money trucks. That's why I bought one for the camera team who are filming behind the scenes of Patriot Games, and you don't often get to see it, but I drive that vehicle a fair bit. And I'm absolutely wrapped with it. Number 2, something completely different from Patriot. You know, we've tried a lot of other platforms and now we're really starting to mix it up. I think the DMAX is another really cool platform for us. Driveline wise, we're sitting on 2-inch TJM XGS suspension, taking this thing for a good lap around the block. As usual, no surprises there. It rides absolutely amazing. We nailed it with the 550 kilo constant load in the back. We've got a full suite of TJM bash guards underneath, protecting all of the driveline, the gearbox, the tranny, and all the rest of it. Package is running on 17 by 9-inch P-Core wheels with Mickey Thompson ATZ P3 tyres. Now, the P-Core wheels have been developed for maximum legal track width increase here in Australia, and they're available now to suit specifically the DMAX. We've got a Torque exhaust for power upgrades. So we've gone with a full stainless steel exhaust with the Torque pedal torque module and the ECU upgrade. So it brings that throttle response right down low in the rev range and improved fuel economy. We run Torque right throughout. Bar work, of course, what else? TJM. It's all we use through Patriot Games and all of our Super Tourer builds. We've got the full suite of TJM bar work, including a new product for us, which is the rear bar with an integrated 3.5 ton towing hitch. Mounted to the front of the bull bar, we've got the new 220mm LED X-ray vision lights with 300mm spreaders to project onto the sides of the roads. We've also got the GME whip, which is hooked up to the XRS Connect GME radio. By far the best radio on the market. Once you've used a XRS Connect, I can guarantee you'll never go back to anything else. So definitely check those things out. While we're talking about what's inside the cab, Red Arc Tow Pro. So the Tow Pro is there to control, obviously, the brakes on the X2, which we're going to get to in a minute. Let's talk a little bit more about some external stuff. We haven't fitted a roof platform on this, which some people might think is a little bit odd, but this whole package is designed to be towed with the X2 behind. So with the mounting of the awning on the back, we've gone with the factory Isuzu crossbars and mounted our Max Tracks up the top. Max Tracks must have for any touring vehicle, a million different situations. Those things will get you out of trouble, and especially when you're towing a trailer. Again, if you win it and you do want to put a roof rack on, go for gold. It's yours, you can do whatever you like with it. TJM AirTech snorkel. The snorkel AirTech is the only brand that we fit here to all the Super Tourer range. And with all the TJM gear, and look, not specifically TJM gear, I think everything that we've built in this car is all the brands that we know, we trust, we use, and aesthetically, it's all the stuff that we fit on our own products and our own range of Super Tourers. So there's a lot of design cues coming in there. Let's go and check out the canopy. Let's have a look at what we did down in there. You can see right now too, you know what? I'm not gonna try and avoid it because this might go on for a little while. It is like 43 degrees here today. And because we're filming, we've got to keep all the doors closed in the factory bays. And I can tell you right now, the cameraman behind me looks like he just got out of a swimming pool. He's dripping sweat all the way down to his toes. So let's try and get through this as quick as we can, down to the canopy. Before we go down the back, I almost forgot, there is a lot going on under here and it's worth talking about. The second battery setup, we've gone with the TJM second battery tray, a Century battery, which is Australian made. They're made here locally. Why would we buy anything else? But what we've done in this truck is we've gone to town in the usual Patriot fashion when it comes to wiring. The wiring in this truck is an absolute work of art. The tradespeople that we have here are absolutely amazing at what they do. It's a full standalone system. Everything that's added onto this car has nothing to do with the factory harness, which is a big advantage for somebody who's trying to fault find somewhere down the track. You'll notice at the front as well, we've put in an Anderson plug for the solar. So the BC-DC that's mounted in front of the grille is a battery charger for the second battery, like I said before, but it also has a solar input. So if you want to plug in a solar blanket and charge your crank batteries and your second battery whilst you're at camp, you have the ability to do it on this. Isolator is neatly mounted behind the grille to run the TJM Torque 12,000 pound winch, the only winch that we use, and we've put them through hell in all aspects of Patriot Games. Now let's go down the back. So the boys at 5'3" hooked us up with the decals on the side, and Alan from Master Tint, really good mate of mine, hooked us up with the window tint. Mate, thanks for coming out and doing that on site. He doesn't normally do that type of work. Now let's talk about this in the back. Aeroclass. Aeroclass, massive OE manufacturer. I've been to the factory in Thailand. I've seen how these things are made. I was bouncing up and down on one of these things on the floor like a trampoline. All 100 kilos of me, they were trying to get me to break it. I think it was a bit of a joke because no one has ever broken one, and I could not break or crack it. Amazing bit of gear, insulated, all the glass, central locking at the back. They're a really good bit of kit, and something brand new for us. So the window access from the side, you'll see throughout the build, I explained a couple of times what we were doing in here. Now I have got a couple of questions come through from social media during the build saying, is TVMS overkill for this build? And I'll answer it like this. Currently right now with what we're running, and really we're only running 3 or 4 inputs, yeah, it's overkill. But I can promise you, whoever wins this truck is gonna wanna add some accessories into it. Nobody gets the build of a touring vehicle right the first time. Nobody. It is impossible, it doesn't happen. It's an evolution. It's something that you think you want something and you'll build it one way, you'll go and use it, you'll come back and say, oh, we can do this better, or I can add this, or I want that. That's where TVMS comes into its own, because the inputs and outputs that are spare now, whatever accessories that the customer wants to add, there's no fusing to be done, there's no relays to be done, there's nowhere to find where to put another switch, which ends up like a bird nest of, I was going to use a word, a bird nest of wire everywhere throughout the truck, and that is something that I just cannot stand. So now you can wire straight into the TVMS, and you can pick up here, reprogram any icon you like to run any one of those inputs and outputs. And that's the reason why TVMS is going to become very, very popular in touring trucks, not just reserved for caravans and camper trailers. Whole red arc suite is sitting in here. The Manager 30 is the 30 amp charger that controls the inputs, the 240 volt, the solar and the DC to DC charge from the alternator to charge the house battery, which is sitting at the back. Runs completely independent to what's going up at the front. Up at the front, the second battery that we've installed is simply cranking battery. It's spare cranking battery. Everything that runs for the house is running off the battery down the back in here. So this is a standalone system. The other thing we've got is the 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter, and everything is operated here through the TVMS. So if I turn the 12 volt on, that's going to give me power to the accessory switches here. I've got the lights for the drawers in the back, which we'll see a little bit later. I can turn the inverter on, so if I want to plug in anything for 240. Air compressor here is on and off. You can hear that running, and this is another really clever feature. So this is our airbag controls. You saw during the build that we're running on Airbag Man helper springs, and that's exactly what they do. They are helper springs. They're not there to take over from the leaf spring. What they are there to do is to help you combat different loads in the back of your touring vehicle. So how it's sitting right now, like I've mentioned, we have the 550 kilo constant loads. There might be, I don't know, 500 kilos on here right now, but you jam this full of stuff, all your kids' accessories, put stuff up on the roof, tow a heavier caravan, you're gonna change the dynamics of the suspension, and that's what the airbags are doing. Now we can control them here, so if I turn the air compressor on, I can go down, and then I can pump up independently. You can feel the truck starting to come up, left and right side of the vehicle, which is, it's just a very, very simple, very intuitive system. TJM Mod-X drawers, they're all galvanized steel. Really simple system to install. The boys installed these in I think about 3 hours, first time that they've ever done it. Everything's gone together. They're designed specifically to suit the vehicle that you purchase them for. Now you can get them with slides on top, so if you want to run a fridge on top, but because we're towing the X2, we've opted not to do that, and we're leaving the back of the canopy blank for the winner to do whatever they like in here. You've got an air outlet in here, and you've got a solar input, which will run to the BMS. So later on, if you want to put a solar panel up on top, or again, I think solar blankets are a lot more diverse. They're smaller, they don't take the real estate up on the roof rack. Let's face it, solar panel up on the roof rack whilst you're driving, you're going to be charging off your DC to DC anyway. So that's my opinion, that's subjective, right? So solar panel input, airbag man compressor with the pump up kit. That's the back of the interior of the DMAX. I did say at the start I was going to try and keep this video nice and short, but when you start me talking about a Patriot Campers product, I'll tell you now, it's very, very hard to stop me. I'll get so excited, I'll get so passionate about everything that we do here at Patriot Campers. So I'm going to do my very, very best to keep this short. You know what we'll do? We'll really focus on the guys that got involved with this competition giveaway and the products that they've supplied for who is going to win this prize pack. And it is the ultimate prize pack. First one you're going to notice at the back is Dometic. So Dometic have thrown in their 50 litre CFX. These are our weapon of choice and have been for a long time. You'll go back to day one of Patriot Games, you'll see Dometic fridges and in all of our gear. 50 litre fits perfectly into the back of the X2, and the X2 is all about lightweight, very simplistic, very easy touring. This whole package that you see sitting behind me right now, empty, weighs about 700 kilos. So on the back of the DMAX, you don't really notice that it's there. You don't feel it with the power that the DMAX is making. But one thing I will say, when you're towing anything, you're gonna consume more fuel. That's just the way it is. You've got a lot more drag, a lot more weight, wind resistance, and to combat that, we've put in a 135 litre long-range fuel tank, Brown Davis long-range fuel tank, under the back of the DMAX. This whole package of the X2 is riding on Cruise Master suspension. From the first inception of Patriot Campers 6 years ago, we were running the Cruise Master XT style suspension, which was a little bit heavy for our application. And at that time, it was a weld-on kit. Over the years, we developed that relationship with Cruise Master, and then we came up with a concept for X-Cruise with Cruise Master, and they developed this brand new suspension kit for us. On the X2, we're running on single shocks and springs, and like I said before, fully independent suspension kit. You have an ATM here of 1,600 kilos. So realistically, if you wanted to, well, if you do this, you've bought the wrong trailer, but if you wanted to, you can put a ton worth of gear, 900 kilos worth of gear into an X2. You know you're never going to break that suspension. If you watch Patriot Games, coupled with that Ridulite chassis, the Patriot Campers chassis, these things are indestructible. You cannot break them. Now moving to the front, actually as we come up the side, you'll see with the X2, you've got a very simple but very, very usable kitchen area. All of the components, everything that you see in the body of a Patriot camper is all non-corrosive, it's all aluminium. The only steel that we use in the Patriot is the chassis, and the chassis is hot dip galvanized. The bench tops, infills are a scratch resistant stainless steel. Again, you watch Patriot Games, you'll see me, I fillet fish, I prepare food straight on top of here, I don't even use a cutting board. You've got a twin burner stove, big pantry drawer here. You've got the Red Arc Manager 30 in here, and the X2 was all about keeping the cost down, which is the reason that we've gone with the Manager and the X2. All of our upper models, the X1, X1H, X3 are all available with TVMS like I showed you before. And you can see here we're standing underneath this massive, massive awning from Dachi. Now this is the Eclipse 270-degree awning. This is what we were running on Sarah's Ranger, and I had one on my Ram for a long period of time. The big advantage that you've got with this, it's a 270-degree awning, that swings around the back to cover the kitchen, but then you've got this other 180 degree at the front. Now you can see here the way that the DMAX and the X2 are positioned, without the roof rack, you can still swing that awning arm over the top. But typically speaking, when you do stop for camp for a period of time, you disconnect the car and you've got this massive living space to protect you from the elements. Again, it's very, very hot in here. If there was sun beating down, this would definitely help, but it's not the sun that's hurting us. It's probably our 400 square meter powder coating oven that's burning at 220 degrees down the back that is really making this shed like I'm cooking in here. Twin gas bottle holders in the front. You've got the man cave here on the X2. Now there's a ton of storage on the other side. We've optioned this one with gas hot water as well. So the hot water system pulls out of here, clips onto one side, into your gas bottle. You've got hot water to draw from the onboard water tank right there. Coming in here, another product that we fit on every single towable that Patriot Campers builds is the Cruise Master DO35. This is the #1 hitch in the world. This is the new version. I think they're up to about Gen 4. I think this must be the Gen 4, which is the cast version of the DO35, a full articulating off-road hitch. So, #1 ECUs. It's a single pin on the top. If you watch any of the Patriot Campers videos, that's unlocked. I can screw it up there. #2, off-road ability. It'll spin 360 degrees in one direction, 180 degrees in the other direction. The big one for me with the spinning 360 degrees, and I know firsthand, I've done it, and I've personally done it once, and I've been behind my brother when he's done it once when he's barrel rolled a camper trailer. He rolled his about 7 or 8 times. I rode mine, I think, about 6 times, and it didn't affect the car at all. So with your typical ball type hitch, if you get into that situation, and especially if you're towing something heavy, not so much with the Patriot, if the trailer does let go, 9 times out of 10, it'll take the car with it, and it'll end up rolling the car. You'll end up on your roof, and I'd hate to think the worst, if the family's on board. So from a safety aspect, it gives the opportunity for the trailer to continue to spin on the back of the truck, and you've got much less of a chance of flipping the car. So for a safety aspect, that's a really, really big one for me. So that's all I'm really gonna say about the X2. I'm going to drag the boys out there hiding in the air conditioning, and we're going to run you through all of the other gear that everybody who's involved with the show has supplied for this massive competition giveaway. Let's have a look at the little Polaris first. What do you think about the little Ranger?
I love it actually.
Yeah,
It's good.
It is pretty cool. Remember that trip up to Arnhem Land, you guys in the little Razor? That was a 170,
Yeah.
And you guys had a ball.
That was the best ever.
So much fun. Just, they're so small and light that you can just whip them around easy.
Let me quickly run you through the Ranger 150. Now the Ranger 150 is, I think Polaris has really stepped it up when it comes to youth vehicles with this thing here. Now, I've got to say, we haven't had any experience with it. You guys have been running around out in the car park out here. The biggest feature for the parents that win this, if you're one of those cautious parents or your kids aren't used to this sort of off-roading or dirt bikes or all the rest of it, this thing's got a feature called geofencing, right? Now, you can pair your phone, your iPhone, to this machine here, and you can set up a perimeter for how far the kids can go from your location and set speed limits inside of that perimeter. Now, my little cousin, Xavier, he's got one of these, and his dad does run geofencing on him out at their property, and I can tell you right now, it gives you peace of mind. You can be in the house or even out camping, the kids aren't going to go too far. If they go outside, completely outside of the geofence, that's it, they can't go any further. They need to push the thing back into the geofence and then bring it back to you. Very, very cool feature. They're fuel injected, reliable as, hey, you guys drowned yours up in Arnhem Land.
Thrashed our little one and it runs perfectly fine.
So pretty cool bit of kit. All right, let's move to this other gear. I'll take you through all of this stuff. So Dachi Dust to Dawn swags. These are our swag of choice, right?
Yeah.
They are, and they have been forever. Now you can buy a massive range of swags from Dachi, a massive range of swags online, but the Dust to Dawn is the easiest, simplest setup. It only has, your 2 outside hoops and then your 1 in the center. These guys now, all they do is swag. They don't sleep in camper trailers anymore. We're kind of past that. And that's where the concept for the new X3 has come from. You guys, 2 swags on the roof, like the X2 is set up here, and they're out kind of doing their own thing. Dachi chairs, the Viper chairs, really high quality. all the Dachi gear that we've had for a very long time. You can buy spare parts for everything. So say if you do damage a leg or you bend something, or your mate has a few too many around the campsite and thinks that, you know, it'd be a good idea to ride your chair like a horse and bends it, you can buy spare parts for it, yeah? In the side, you've got all of these pockets for all storage of all of your gear, UHFs, wallets, keys, all that sort of stuff. Cup holders on the other side, good bit of gear. Now, this is something that we're new to. Hey, this stuff in here. So this is definitely not something that we're new to. So you get 2 G-Shock watches. So his and hers, his, hers, whatever. G-Shocks is, you got your G-Shock on?
No, I got mine on.
This kid's useless with a watch. Every G-Shock that I give him, he loses.
Yeah.
And G-Shock, that's why I request so many watches. It's his fault. It's not mine. So they're coming from G-Shock. Black Diamond head torches. Now, we're new to these in Mongolia. We took a whole fleet of these over to Mongolia, didn't we?
Good.
But they're amazing. Now, in the early days when I was doing a lot of hunting, I used to run big lithium-powered, massive torches that, you know, would last 45 minutes on full beam. And, you know, for the application, they were unreal. But for camping, for general camping, this is exactly what you need. You don't even notice they're on your head. They're very light. They don't take up any room. They run off standard batteries, which, look, now we kind of, in our trailer, we have like a 10-pack or a 20-pack of AAAs. And if a battery goes flat, it is so much easier than trying to find power or remembering, because your torch will go flat when you need it, and it's already dark. And by that time, it's like, well, what am I going to do while the thing's sitting on charge? So I still like battery torches, I really do. These we actually started using in Mongolia and you're going to see that coming up in the second half of Patriot Games. The reason we went with a lighter sleeping bag, and we contacted these guys at Cedar Summit, they're really into that mountaineering, hiking sort of style. And for us, the sleeping bags that we typically use, like your Dachis and even the Patriot Campers sleeping bag, they're big, heavy canvas, which is nice when you've got the real estate to be able to carry them, but we needed something super lightweight. Now, when you do see what's coming up in Mongolia, this little thing here, Sarah and myself and the kids, we slept under the stars for about 3 days on horseback, and we woke up every morning with sheets of ice over the top of these sleeping bags and sheets of ice in my beard. Wait till you see it. It was pretty cool, and didn't lose 1 wink of sleep all night from this tiny little thing. These are a -6 degree, very good bit of kit. Inflatable sleeping mats. So this is something else that we had with us in Mongolia, and we slept under the stars. Now, I'm not one to sleep in a sleeping bag straight on the ground. These sleeping mats, I'm telling you right now from Cedar Summit, these will be one of the most amazing things that you've ever bought if you've never tried one before. How were they?
Yeah, they are comfortable and really easy to shut up.
Yeah, really, they self-inflate. They've got a little inflated thing that comes with them. But again, check out the Mongolian episodes. Amazing. Lastly, don't go anywhere without one of these, ever, never. Never been camping without a jet ball, ever. That's all that needs to be said about that. Watch any episode of Patriot Games. If you don't know what a jet ball is, you probably shouldn't be camping, put it that way. You gotta get one of these. And the one thing I don't have in front of me, we're also gonna throw in a bunch of DeWalt tools. This is it, the competition giveaway.
Yep.
$150,000 worth of prizes, compliments of all of the sponsors of Patriot Games. The team here at Patriot Campers that have put all the effort in behind the scenes to put all this together, and there's a lot more that happens than just the build. You know, the whole supply chain, coordinating, the marketing, everybody who's so pumped to give this away as much as we are. I sincerely hope this goes to somebody who's going to use it, somebody who's, you know, doesn't just put it back on eBay or Gumtree and try and get rid of it. You know, a family preferably, but the choice is not ours. It's a random competition. Get in there. If you've watched the past 2 seasons, you know somebody's going to win this. We've had a ball building it, haven't we?
Definitely, it's been fun.
Spending time with these two outside of the realms of what you see on camera and doing something unique, seeing their skills, watching their growth over the past couple of years and how they interact with the team here at Patriot Campers has been absolutely amazing. Hope you've enjoyed the build. I hope you win the DMAX. Thank you very much for watching.